Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video on the channel and welcome back to the Bond account. So this video is basically because of something I found out on the Bond account yesterday. I was training Necromancy and using invention as well and disassembling some of my Necromancy items. So when I went back into the Grand Exchange to go and buy them to replace them, because I have access to being able to do a certain level because of Keeley's tasks, they wouldn't buy for quite high over their median price. Which then got me thinking, like, is it still possible to make a huge amount of money by making the upgrades for both the Skull Lantern and also the Death Guard? Now, the one which was causing me the most problem was more the Skull Lantern, so we'll probably focus more on that, but we'll make sure to do a Death Guard for each set as well, just so we can understand, like, how much profit each is. So the only ones I'll be selling are the 60, 70, and 80. I can't make the level 90 yet, but I think people would buy the 60, 70, and 80 for either upgrades or to replace items they disassemble anyway. So that is why I'm going to focus on those three. So basically, to do these upgrades, you need to use 3 bars. So you need to use the lesser ensouled bar, the ensouled bar, and the greater ensouled bar. To upgrade from level 10 to level 50, that's going to cost you 7 ensouled bars. And for this episode and for a sample size, just to make sure we've got a chance to like sort of test as much as we can, I'm going to do 10. So we're going to go and buy 10 of all the bars needed. For the lesser ensouled bar, it is bronze bars, iron bars, and steel bars. So what we've got as well is a 20mm flat cash stack, and what that's going to do for us as well is basically just iron out and like tell us what the price is going to be of everything once we've finished buying. The next one we're going to be using is the normal ensouled bars, and this will be adamant, rune, and orichalcum. And one thing as well, which I will mention, is that like the bar prices are very high. And I don't know if this is why, because if this works how it should, it just seems to be like insanely sheer profit and a way to make money through rituals. Because these need to all be converted into their proper bars via ritual, especially with the price of like ectoplasm as well. It's just like more money. The ectoplasm price will cover all your costs for the ritual anyway, even when using multipliers. But if this is as good as what it looks to be in the early stages, we could be onto a very good moneymaker to train the account, both for like money and also some necromancy XP as well. But we'll go through the bar prices afterwards, because as well, in terms of a side moneymaker, we are going to look at smithing very, very soon, because it does seem to be a very good money making method. And to be fair, I'll probably do it on this account straight afterwards, because I'll have all the prices bought anyway. And then finally, the greater ensouled bar is Necronium, when I can find the bar up there. And again, very good price. And Bane as well. So the only bar which really doesn't get used is the Elder Rune, which I imagine at some point it will come in terms of an upgrade. They are still looking at doing stuff with Necromancy. And then Bane as well is our final bar. So in terms of bars, we've done alright. We've only spent about 4 mil. And this is going to make 10 upgrades up to level 80. If I want to. I won't use all the higher tier bars because we're not going to do all level 80 lanterns and guards. So what we're going to go and do is, now we've got our fancy Tomb of 2. Grab that out of the bank. We have all our necromancy pieces needed. So we can just go and fly off to the smithy. And again, get the Tomb of 2. I've only recently just got it on this account and it's so worthwhile getting. You can then dump all your metal into the forge, and then basically what we're going to do next is just crank out smithing these bars. So what I'll do, I'm going to go and smith all these bars. I'm going to be away for a little while we do it, and I'll come back and then yeah, we'll basically skip the painful bit for you guys. For me, I'll just AFK and do something else in the meantime. So one thing which will make this method better and quicker, if you have access to level 90 necromancy like I now have, you can unlock the bigger ritual area, which means you can use multiply as well, which means you do need less bars as well, and you also make your bars quicker. So it's basically up to you what you want to do, whether you want to take a little bit less profit and use more multipliers as well, but then do it quicker, which might possibly mean you can make more lanterns per hour and then sell them for a high price and stuff like that. Or you can just do your standard, normal, lower tiered, tier 2 ritual site anyway. So depending on your necromancy level depends on what tier you can do. If you wanted to do tier 80, you do need level 80 to be able to make the bars. If you wanted just to upgrade up to level 70 in terms of the weapons, you just need a level 60 in terms of your necromancy. What is really good as well is to use your glyphs. You can use your multiply glyphs to create more bars, which will create more bars per hour, which then means you can get to the point where you're upgrading your lanterns and your death guards sooner, which should hopefully generate you more profit. Now, one thing to be careful of is just to make sure that the multiplier ones you do use are the correct ones. Sometimes using a higher tier multiplier one will just cost you too much money. Look at where you are cost-wise in terms of a multiplier glyph. the wiki actually has a really good comparison of the prices for the multiply glyphs. So for us, a multiply 1 glyph costs 25k, a multiply 2 glyph costs roughly the same, and a multiply 3, which you need 106 necromancy for, which might be out of the sort of reach, does cost 54k. We're going to stick to the multiply 2 glyph because that's going to be the best value for us in terms of making our bars. So next up, I need to go and turn all those bars into their ensouled versions, which is going to take us a little bit of a while, which is good for me as well because it gives me some time to catch up on some editing, do some other stuff. But for you guys, you don't want to be watching that. So what I'm going to do is sort out all of my bars, get it to the point we're ready to go to the Soul Forge, and then we can go to the Grand Exchange and sell some stuff and see how we go. In terms of sample size, I'm just going to do those 10, so I'm going to try and get them shifted as quick as possible, and then we can go back to the Grand Exchange, just see how stuff sells. There might be the case I throw these items in overnight, and then we finish the video tomorrow, just to see what we can really get in terms of a slow sell, because I think these items are something you can really whack some extra money on, and it will sell for a higher price overnight, because they are so niche, and yeah. Right, so we have finished all of these bars, and basically, it took me quite a long time to do them, and one thing to keep an eye out for at the minute is because it's the Runescape birthday event, they do have some community like buffs currently going out. One of the buffs we've just been offered is 50% on our Necromancy ritual input, which I think if you're doing something like this will greatly quicken up your speed in terms of like how many bars per hour you're doing. Even with like maxed out multipliers, it really was quite slow to do, but for this account it's quite worthwhile because it gives me a little bit of Necromancy XP anyway. So what I'm going to do is make one of each at level 60, and then I'm going to make 2 each at level 70 and 80, throw them on the Grand Exchange and see what we can make in terms of profit. Now, one good thing of this is that from all these rituals, we actually made 6 mil in ectoplasm, which is a really, really good thing at the minute. Ectoplasm price means that no matter what sort of rituals you are doing, you are going to be making a little bit back just from pure ectoplasm prices, and because of like multipliers as well, that really does help buff up the price of rituals. So far, we're only 8 mil actually into this. We also bought some ink as well, so that includes the ink price as well. And I'm pretty sure that from these 10, we're going to make quite a bit over 8 mil. And that's taking a bit of a hit as well by like making a set at 60 and the other 2 at 70 and 2 at 80. Really, you want to sort of sell it at the highest tier possible, because that will just mean more profit. So just need to top up on the bone runes as well. That'll be a little bit of expense because every time we upgrade, you need to use the bone runes. So we'll just buy some now. And again, to move on to straight over. So yes, so we'll upgrade to level 60, and that'll be our first step into the weapons we want to make. The good thing is that actually upgrading the weapons from what we've been seeing, it doesn't take too long. It is a bit annoying that you can't store like bars in the Soul Forge, but it is what it is. Right, so now's a good time. Now's the time we can sell it. So the level 61, I'm going to put in for 555k. Okay, so that's sold level 60. Yeah, level 60 selling for just under 600k is about where you really want it to be. We'll throw in the tier 60 Death Guard. Again, same price, so that doesn't sell. So is this 80? Yes, so tier 70. I'm going to sell one for just under 2 mil. I'm going to sell one for 5555k. I wonder if that's a tier 81. So for my little experiment, I'm going to go and leave these to sell, and then I can slowly adjust the price as and when it gets on. These items I think are really low volume because I don't think a lot of people like buy them because they make their own set. And I don't think a lot of people really disassemble them, which is why there's no real like demand on them. A lot of it will just be waiting out for an offer, and if we can sell, we can sell. In terms of what's on the Grand Exchange, if everything sells for the price it is, we'll probably like make something like 12 to 13 mil-ish. But we'll wait to see what happens because we can pretty much make a lot of money if we hold out on the price. And that's one thing like I say a lot is if you hold out on the price, sometimes it will sell. So here, I've had this Death Dealer rope top in for 3 days now, and it went by for 1.5 mil. That's level 70 armor. And again, I just think it doesn't no one buys it, no one sells it, which is why you can be there in terms of that. Now that's tier 60 skull did sell for 600k. That was 10 times its Grand Exchange price. So for the price we paid for that and the amount of time that really took, that's actually really good money. But we're going to go and leave these to sell, see if they do, and then we'll come back and go through the profit. Whether it's worth doing or not, or what tier performed best in terms of like time and GP and XP. If we can get the price I was throwing items in for the tier 80, then that will be some pretty good profits. So We'll see how we get on, see if it's worthwhile. But in the meantime, I'm going to do some other stuff on the Bond account, keep it busy, keep it productive, and making money as well. And I'll come back once stuff has started to sell. So, admittedly, this has been about 2 days since we've upgraded the weapons. We've thrown them in the Grand Exchange, and they have now all sold. So just to go over some rough points and some very quick points to make is that the level 80 weapons, the Skull Lanterns especially, sold probably the quickest out of everything, but also sold for the highest price. We sold 4 Skull Lanterns tier 80 at 3.3 mil each. The tier 80 version of the Death Guard we sold for 2.7 mil, but again that took a lot longer to do. So really, I'd probably go and do tier 80 Skull Lanterns if it was me. The tier 70 Death Guard sold for 1.9 mil and also sold for 1.5k. So again, you do need to test like margins and stuff, but in terms of profit we've made, we started with a 20 mil cash stack a couple of days ago. If you can't remember what that was, we'll start claiming all this back, and looking at it, we're actually going to make a nice little chunk of money. So all in, we're probably going to make about 14 mil. Now don't get me wrong, going through all these prices, if I was to do that again, I'd probably buy the Death Guards tier 60 at level 60. And the price you're going to take to upgrade them is pretty much worthwhile. So for me personally, I'm going to throw in some offers to buy those at level 60. And then we can see if they buy. And then for the future as well, we can also upgrade them from 60 all the way up to 80. And then hopefully sell for a higher margin as well. Now by all means, if you want to, you can do this from the absolute base. I just think it takes a little bit too long, in my opinion. In terms of getting the bars, it's really, really nice in terms of an AFK method. Really easy and no real problems doing it either. And it's a good way to make some GP, like by just buying these over time and picking them up as and when. It's a really good way to make a little bit of GP just from doing some Necromancy as well. Not only that as well, the Ectoplasm, which I do have in my storage, was another 4 mil. So really, we made 18, but if I just say 15 mil is what we made, that's a good way just to cover for any ink prices or any inks that I had in my info anyway. But that is the Bond account. That is another view of a money-making method for Necromancy. Upgrading armors is definitely a way to make profit. And upgrading weapons is definitely a very good way to make some profit if you needed some form of AFK time as well to do that. That's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have, please make sure to like the video. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're keeping on with the content, making sure to keep up with our schedule. But by subscribing, you're making sure that you view every video possible on my channel. But thank you guys for watching once again, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next video.